Hello there, my name is Alex and this is my 1996 BMW F650 Funduro. Now the reason I'm recording this today, it has been a year since I put my deposit down on this bike and, well, met it and put a deposit down. And in the year that I have been its custodian, we've come a long way. I first started this part of my motorcycle journey with this bike and a Haynes manual and some tools. And since then, I've managed to try and make this bike more of my own and customize it to me and everything that I want to do with it. And this is what I want to document here today. Not because anyone's asked me to, but because I'm really proud of everything that I've managed to achieve thus far with a lot of what's the worst that can happen attitude. So yeah, I'm going to go through it in chronological order and kind of go from there. Right, so to start off with, the first thing I did, as most of you may have seen, was I attempted to fix a puncture in my front wheel and failed miserably to the point where I had to go and seek professional help and pay someone to fix it. But taking the wheel off was a big experience for me, and getting it back on was one thing. The thing that I did after that was fork gaiters. Now, as much as they are not really necessary, I think, for this kind of bike, it does protect the fork seals and everything in between, but for me, this is a 90s adventure bike, and the aesthetic of, for me, 90s adventure bikes is having fork gaiters. So this is very much a 70% aesthetic choice and 30% kind of necessary. And then after that, I fitted the radiator guard and the engine guard, and these were made by a Flemish man called Ard. I found him on Facebook, and he makes them out of his workshop. So technically I have artisanal, bespoke, custom parts for this motorcycle, so I'm going to stick with that description. After that, I went electrical, and some of you may have seen before, I got the electrics working on a new light. Now what I failed to do was get the correct light, so I measured the outside circumference and purchased the light based upon that dimension. However, it was the wrong size, so now I have an LED bulb not doing anything, and I had to repurchase this one following watching a YouTube video of a gentleman doing the same thing to his. And in doing so, I had to get a 3D part printed by a friend of mine called Mike to make it fit the original bracket. So I've also got 3D printed parts inside my motorcycle from the mid-90s. After that, it was engine guards. So the engine guards were a terrifying thing to fix, mainly due to the fact that these are attached by removing the engine mount bolts and replacing them. And that was a terrifying prospect because I thought the engine would fall out. It didn't, but I thought it would. And then after that, it was lighting. Now, this is auxiliary lights 2.0. The first ones were mounted here, and one of them broke off already within like a week or two of having it fitted, because when changing the tyres, the whole motorcycle fell over and broke one of them off. So I've bought some new mounts from Amazon. Let's see how well they do, and refitted them underneath and hopefully a bit more protected. So that's really about it for hardware. I know I've kind of blazed through that quite quickly. And then Gardener. Let me come back to you. Right, back at it. So I must stipulate, the majority of the electrical work I have not done myself. It was done by a garage called Motorcycle Services out of Etwell near Derby. They've been amazing, really supportive, super fantastic. Would recommend them to do any work for you. So the auxiliary lights are wired into the main lighting rig, so I don't have any extra switches. It just works off the original one, which is fantastic, and also works with the halo light on the headlights, so great running lights. They also fitted a fuse box for me underneath the chair, so I have utilized that to fit a charging port for my phone and also a sat nav charging mount. to get that really working and together, so I can kind of go to places that I couldn't before and not get lost along the way. Luggage wise, I already had an Endurostan tank bag on my GS. This is the same one, and so while being in the ecosystem, I invested in some Endurostan saddlebags. So Endurostan, if you want to provide me with a lovely backpack, love that. And then after that, it was tyres. I've got some new Mitas tyres on it, because the original really blocky knobblies I just didn't trust the rubber at all when going around corners, and now I feel so much more confident on the road. That's it so far. There's still things that need to be done. I could respring the front forks and change the rear shock, move the regulator from underneath the seat to somewhere where it gets any airflow, because that is a fault with these bikes, because there's just nothing there and it can kind of kill everything. But it's mine, and I'm really looking forward to whatever adventure I can take it on. Unfortunately, now it's coming towards the end of the summer. I have almost ran out of money and annual leave, but I'm going to do my best with what I can and hopefully make something of it. So yeah, thank you very much for your time, and I really appreciate it, and have a good day. I realised I can't have a video of a motorcycle without at least providing some sort of engine note. I wonder if it'll start first time. My BMW. Right. Before I get his noise complaint, I'll pack everything up. Thank you.